Hello everyone, welcome to this topic of working with files in Python. Let me quickly walk through the objectives of this topic. We will begin with what is file and file handling. Does Python support file? Types of files. Next, how to open and close file. And then various accessing modes. File object attributes in Python. And finally, we will see some examples for practical approach. Before going into the topic of file handling, let's discuss about the files. Files are named locations on disk to store related information. They are used to permanently store data in a non-volatile memory. Example, hard disk. So why do we use files? Since random access memory is volatile, which loses its data when the computer is turned off, so we use files for future use of the data by permanently storing them. Working with file involves several functions. So the process of creating a file, storing the data in the file, retrieving data from file, and appending further information into the file if any needed. This complete process is said to be file handling. Does Python support file handling? Why not like many other languages? Python does support file handling. In other programming languages, file handling is a bit complicated, but in Python programming, it is pretty simple. Uses of file handling in Python. File handling consists of various accessing modes and attributes to open a file. Python enables us to create a new file, open existing file, write in files, read data from files, and many more such operations. Python supports two types of file. They are text file and binary file. Text file. If a file consists of sequence of characters, alphabets, numbers, and other special symbols, then it is said to be text file. File extensions like .txt, .py, .csv, etc. are examples of text files. In text file, each line is stored as sequence of ASCII equivalent of characters. This is terminated by a special character called end of line, EOL. Binary file. Binary file consists of data stored as stream of bytes, that is zeros and ones. .bin extension is for binary file. Binary files are mainly used to store data beyond text, such as images, executables, etc. Let's discuss how to open and close files in Python. Python consists of various built-in functions and methods to manipulate files. These functions and methods basically work on file object. The open function. Python has a built-in open function to open a file. This function returns an object, file object, also called a handle, as it is used to read or modify the file accordingly. We can specify the mode while opening a file. In mode, we can specify whether we want to read, write, or append to the file. We can also specify if we want to open the file in text mode or binary mode. Syntax to open a file. File object, opening a file, name of the file, and its accessing mode. Closing a file. When we are done with performing operations on the file, we need to properly close the file. Once a file object is closed, you cannot further read from or write into the file that is associated with the file object. Closing a file will free up the resources that we were tied with the file. It is done using close method available in Python. Syntax for closing a file. File object.close.
Let us take a look into different types of modes to operate a file. This is the read mode. In this we can read the information the file has. The reading of the data starts from beginning of the file. Following one is RB. This is also a read mode, but here the information is read only in binary format. Here also the reading of the data starts from the beginning of the file. Next one is R+. This mode is for both reading and writing data. In this we can read data and write in the same line simultaneously. Following one is Rb+. Rb+ opens the file in both read mode and write mode in binary format. Next one is W. W opens the file in write mode. If the file doesn't exist, then a new file is created. WB opens the file in a new mode for binary format only. Next one is Wplus that opens the file in both read mode and write mode. If the file doesn't exist, a new file is created from reading as well as writing. If the file already exists, then the contents are overwritten. Following one is Wbplus. This opens the file in both read mode and write mode for binary format only. If the file doesn't exist, a new file is created for reading as well as writing. If the file already exists, then the contents are overwritten. Next one is A. A opens a file for appending. The pointer is placed at the end of the file if the file exists. If the file doesn't exist, it creates a new file for that writing. Following one is AB. This opens a file in binary format for appending. The pointer is placed at the end of the file if the file exists. If the file doesn't exist, it creates a new file for writing. Following one is A plus. This opens a file for both reading and appending. The pointer is placed at the end of the file if the file exists. And if the file doesn't exist, it creates a new file for reading and writing. Next is AB plus. AB plus opens a file in binary for both reading and appending. The pointer is placed at the end of the file if the file exists. If the file doesn't exist, it creates a new file for reading and writing. Now let's discuss about file object attributes. In this, if the attribute is file.mode, then it returns the access mode in which the file is opened. If the attribute is file.name, then it returns the name of that file. If the attribute is file.close, then it is used to close the file. And if the attribute is file.closed, then it returns true if the file is closed and false if not. If the attribute is read size, then it reads the specified number of bytes from the file. If the attribute is read line size, then it is used to read one entire line from the file. If the attribute is tell, then this returns the current position of the file pointer. If the attribute is write str, then this writes a string into a file. If the attribute is write lines sequence, this writes a sequence of strings into that file.
Now, let's discuss few examples for better understanding. Let my file object be DevIncept and I want to open a file named as devincept.txt. So I want to read it. Its accessing mode will be R. Let me print this out. Print devincept.read. Here I got the output as hearty welcome to DevIncept. So this file consists of this piece of information. In this program, we learned how to open a file and how to read it. Let's see how to write into the file. My file object is DevIncept and I want to open the file devincept.txt. Here it is W because I want to write into the file. Devincept.write, I love DevIncept. Devincept.close, so the file will be closed here. I am very curious to check what's the output. So let's read the file again. Here the output is I love DevIncept. But what about hearty welcome to DevIncept? It's overwritten. Earlier we discussed that if already file exists, then contents are overwritten. Now let's see how to append. So as usual thing, opening a file, here it is A because A denotes append. Devincept.write \n hashtag devincept incept iterate and innovate devincept.close. So to see the output, let's read the file. So we can see the output. I love devincept hashtag devincept incept iterate innovate. So far we have discussed about some examples on accessing modes. Let us see an example regarding attributes. Devincept, open devincept.txt R indicates read. Print name of the file devincept.name. DevIncept.name returns us the name of the file. Print file is closed, DevIncept.closed. It gives us true if the file is closed, else it will be false. Print file is open, DevIncept.mode. It gives us the mode in which the file is open. Let's see the output. Name of the file is DevIncept.txt. File is closed, false. File is opened in read mode as we gave R. So let's see with W. Okay, name of the file DevIncept.txt. File is closed, false. File is opened in W mode.
Thanks for watching.